Hello, this is Winston Cunningham, and it is July the 13th in 2026. And today I want to talk about the evolution of action. Early on, I was caught up, as most other people are, in the physical-only existence and wanting to make sense out of it. And I was a little slow to act because I stubbornly wanted to understand something before I acted. But I did my best when I acted spontaneously, as I talked about one time when the first time I was starting in high school as a fullback, and my brother and dad could not be there, and that disappointed me and so I just said before the game, I just said to myself, I'll let them read about it. And so sure enough, there was an article the next day that kind of put me up on a pedestal. This is action without thought, because once I said they'll read about it, I just released it. I didn't know what I was doing, that I was doing that. But I had a really good game, and I was in the zone, as people describe it. But I didn't know this was an early experience that would let me know that there was more to action than what I was seeing. Because what happened to me that night, I didn't know I had that until I needed it. And the evolution of action, the way it's happened with me, is that through my study at School of Metaphysics and learning a little bit about going a little bit deeper into myself, then action has become something different and something more valuable and usable. Action when we have a desire, we formulate a picture around this desire, and that picture is transferred to subconscious mind, beginning with the third level. And then the subconscious mind takes it to the third, fourth, fifth, and sixth level, and into the sixth level, and it's gaining substance the whole time. And when it gets to the sixth level, it is pushed into the physical, and that's where it gets our awareness. It gets into our awareness. And the way most people experience this is a reaction emotionally, because they don't know yet that they are doing the creating, and the subconscious mind is just recreating. So this is how a person decides how their life will be without even being aware of it. So you formulate a goal, send it to the part of mind that reproduces from this picture. That's the subconscious mind or soul. And now, when you become aware of it excuse me, when you become aware of it emotionally, then is when you have an opportunity to plan the action which will give it a place to be. Now, we create the picture, we give it to the soul, it reproduces the picture, but before it becomes physical, we have to make a decision. We have to see how to act on it. Now, the act itself is like an airplane that needs a destination. It's got to have an airport. You got to have a place to be. So the action, for me, started out to become a physical only thing and spontaneously not knowing where this extra stuff comes from. Fast forward to now, where I know that for the picture to be complete, an action has to be planned that will give my creation a place to be. In other words, to direct the airplane to a particular airport. So action for me now is, well, getting ready for this talk, for instance. I decided what I wanted to talk about, and I was working at trying to remember enough of my own experiences to relate this talk to. And so the action that I chose was to prepare myself through memory for this talk. And I didn't know exactly what I was going to do until I sat down here. And I'm putting it together as I go. And this is the action that I planned. And it's working pretty good so far. I've done 113 of these talks. This will be 114. And all I started with was the evolution of action. Because in the beginning I saw action one way, and come full circle through 40 years of experience, I see it completely differently and a lot more usable. But we can talk about things and think about things, but until we plan how to use it, then there's no action. And for the picture to be complete, for our creation to be complete, there must be action. And action to me now, I am in the process of downloading within myself, preparing myself for the fourth major life cycle, which will be important to me, the most important this lifetime. I planned that activity of listening within to allow the subconscious mind to, or the soul, to prepare me for what I am to do. And this is a year and a half in the making. And I know how this works now, so I am committed to this process of downloading, which is a popular phrase these days. But I'm downloading from my own soul into my consciousness, my waking consciousness, what I need to be prepared, or how I need to be prepared for the next big thing for me. And the big thing that will bring together what I wanted to produce for this lifetime. I was reading something in Universal Language of Mind, Matthew interpreted, that in reference to a dream that I had related to what I'm talking about here. So it pointed out the episode where Jesus was asking his disciples, well, who do they say that I am? And they say that some say, or they named off several names, including John the Baptist. But and as Dan Condren pointed out, the Bible was actually admitting the reality of reincarnation, because now Jesus could not be a reincarnation of John the Baptist because they existed at the same time in the physical. So that's, well, and that whole message was about pointing out, using belief to the highest level that becomes knowing. You know, John the Baptist represents believing, or the essence of believing. the fullness of believing, if you will. And he introduced the knowing quality, which was what Jesus represents. So believing leads to knowing. And how this relates to my talk is that believing that you can have what you're wanting and directing your attention into where the creation is going to be displayed. This is that belief that leads to the knowing, because the only way you can know is to have it in your experience. And so I'm experiencing a lot of that. I experienced it all my life, but until I got to the School of Metaphysics and started getting some real information, then I didn't know how to assimilate that. But the School of Metaphysics showed me everything I needed to know. And I appreciate the school every day. And I'm glad that there was a place for me to get what I needed. And what I know now, and I'll just pass this along, I've said it before, but in some of my other talks, but each person can have whatever they want. And if they ask the question sincerely, their own soul will guide them to the place that they need to be to gain what they're looking for. For me, my soul guided me to the School of Metaphysics. That's what I needed. And you can have what you need and what you want, but open up for your soul to guide you. And to do this, you have to learn to pay attention. You have to learn to listen within, and that's one of my talks, listening within. Be valuable for you to hear that if you're needing to find something that you haven't found yet. It's not rocket science. Your own soul will guide you there. I've proven this to myself. I can't prove it to you. So I've gone through the evolution of action, knowing that action or experiencing action as a spontaneous thing where there was no awareness, to going full circle to where I am now aware of the action that I'm taking. And I'm seeing action in a whole new light. And I've always been a little short on activity because I want to know how and why as well as that it is. And so that puts me in a different ballgame. And the proof comes through my own experience. That's the only way. And if each person would set about proving what they believe, and they can do this, just ask your own soul, show me something, show me proof, but be specific in your question. But listen within for the answer to your prayers. Your own soul will guide you where you need to be to find what you're looking for. I know this. I can't prove it to you, but you can prove it to yourself. And if you listen to my talks, you'll get the idea of how to do that, or just go directly to the School of Metaphysics and learn how like I did. And of course, I knew from my experience at the School of Metaphysics, I was able to realize that I had gained a lot in previous lifetimes that I was using now, and I didn't know how to process that. I know now, and I would suggest that anybody who's in this state of mind where you need to know, get yourself a past life reading from the School of Metaphysics, past life profile, I think they call them now. And it will relate to what's going on with you now, even though it's from the past. I didn't start out being interested in past lives. It happened through my experience at the School of Metaphysics. By getting my own past life reading, it happened to everybody at lesson 8 as part of the studies. But once I heard mine, I said, well, I guess I'm going to have to pay attention to this because this is real stuff here. I wasn't no doubt in my mind. So I started opening up to understand that, and then came the health reading and so forth. And later on, I got other types of reading. Past life crossing is very valuable when you're forming a relationship with somebody. It gives you a chance to uncover those things you might have brought with you from previous times that you didn't create now. Then you just brought them with you. It would help to know that ahead of time. So that's available. And I had time of birth reading. That's valuable for astrological makeup because it gives you the time of your spiritual birth rather than just your physical birth. Because 24 hours on either side of the physical birth is when the soul enters into that body and puts. But when the soul that chooses this body that's been created, when the entity chooses that soul, it is not complete until the full attention is placed into this new body. And this is the exact time of the spiritual birth. And if you observe babies, they'll seem to be out of it for a while, and then all of a sudden they'll kick in. Well, that's the time of birth, spiritually, not physically. And they can be, Dr. Connie Rothenfeld told me, they can be 24 hours on either side of the birth. And you'll hear stories of either way. The action is something that I'm learning about now, because I'm 82 and I planned my life through 140, and the 10-year period that I'm in now, the 80s, is about me learning more about value. So here I'm talking about the value of action, the evolution in myself of activity, and the importance of that, and the significance of that. I had to turn the fan around because it's a little warmer. Air conditioner's out, so my hair's dancing. But it feels better anyway. The evolution of action in me is what I'm talking about. And I am proud and thankful to be where I am. And the amount of things that I'm able to understand. And I understand that there's a lot more to come. So I don't pretend to be complete. I can be complete with an experience, but the whole shooting match, now I've got a ways to go. And you may be a lot closer than I am. I don't know. But I am appreciating my evolution in the concept of action. What it is, what it produces, how I can use it better. How I can know more about my inner self by planning more action. The evolution of action in me. Now, it's probably not the whole story, but I just want to draw a contrast between how I started this lifetime and where I am now. It's an evolutionary process. We are evolving, and we can evolve quicker by paying attention, by deliberately learning how to create. Check it out. If you need to take classes, I think this School of Metaphysics is offering online classes now. It's som.org if you need to find the website. I'm Winston Cunningham. Have a good day. Thank you.